So I continue with basic instruction. So in the last talk, we were reviewing about the basic instruction for the practice of Satipatthana Vipassana meditation. Excuse me. So as we mentioned, in an intensive Vipassana meditation retreat consists of 3 parts. So 3 parts altogether. So not just sitting meditation, but also the walking meditation, as well as meditation on all the physical daily activities that you carry out in between the walking and sitting meditation. So activities such as standing up, sitting down, opening, closing the door, bowing, walking from one place to another, eating, cleaning, washing, bathing, putting on your clothing, answering the call of nature, and so on. Every single physical activities, from the most major one down to very simple physical act, such as even just bending or stretching the arms. Even if you just wiggle your finger, you're supposed to do it with noting, with mindful noting. Even if you just turn your head a little bit to the side, you're supposed to be totally mindful and clearly comprehending. Even if you just blink your eyes, you're supposed to do it with mindful noting. So basically, this means that you're supposed to be meditating the whole day through. Right? So every single waking moment during an intensive retreat, you're supposed to be noting mindfully. And that's why we call it intensive meditation retreat. You're supposed to do it intensively, one moment after another, continuously throughout the day, as long as you are awake. The only time you do not note is when you are asleep at night. Otherwise, you're supposed to be noting one moment after another. Okay? So, as we often say, a yogi in a retreat, your practice begins from the very first moment you wake up in the morning, right until that very moment when you fall asleep at night. Okay, so throughout this period, you should be continuously meditating every single moment. Okay, so that's the meaning why we call it intensive meditation retreat. We don't call it holiday meditation retreat. You come here for holiday, relax, enjoy yourself. You come for intensive retreat. This is serious business. You're striving after liberation from suffering. This is serious business. So it's not holiday. So so from the very first moment you wake up in the morning, and the moment you are awake, even before you open your eyes, you are supposed to meditate. The mindfulness is supposed to be established already. So very first moment you wake up, immediately you are mindful. Waking up. So of course this is not easy. So to do this, you need a lot of determination. Okay? So you need to make a determination before you go to sleep. Before you fall asleep, you have to make an adhitthana. Next morning, I'm going to wake up with mindfulness intact, with mindfulness established. So if you are determined enough, maybe after a few days, you'll be able to wake up with mindfulness. The moment you wake up, mindfulness is there. Even before you open your eyes, you are already aware, waking up, waking up, waking up. So this one is mentioned in the sutta also. In the sutta, they mentioned that the Buddha and also some of the monks, they describe when they sleep, they lie down on their right hand side in the lion posture, aware of the time of waking up. So they say they are aware, mindful of the time of waking up. Okay, so that means they kind of set their alarm in their mind. In those days, no alarm clock, so they set their alarm in their mind. At this time, I will wake up. Okay? So, and so with this kind of mindfulness, they fall asleep. Okay, so and then because of that determination, at that very moment, when that time comes, they will wake up. You can try. So you can try tonight. Don't set your alarm clock. And you determine next morning I'm going to wake up in such and such a time. So if you are really mindful and determined when you do it, at around that time, you will sure wake up. Okay? If you are really very skillful, exactly at that time you will wake up. So that's what they say. So when they lie down, they are mindful of the time of waking up. And when you are mindful in this way, when you fall asleep, when you wake up also, the mindfulness is there. It's like the mindfulness continue from before you fall asleep. So, so you wake up with mindfulness intact. You are aware, awakening. Then as you wake up also, you're aware what is the state of mind. So your mind can be groggy, then you're aware, groggy. You're tired, and not tired. Oh yeah, lazy. Don't want to get up. You cannot lazy. You're aware of the state of mind. If you wake up with mindfulness, you can be aware immediately of the state of mind. Or if you are very eager, some yogis, after meditating for some time, after their practice has been quite developed already, they meditate with a lot of enthusiasm. Every morning they wake up with this eagerness to do another day of practice. So you wake up with this eagerness, then you cannot eager. Then with that eagerness, your mind make a very firm decision. Get up. Then you cannot intention to get up. Not intention. The moment the intention come, you can notice the body starts to stiffen up. So stiffen up, it begins to pull itself up. Then you cannot getting up, bit by bit. So you know the entire process of the body getting up. So in this way, you start your day waking up with mindfulness. This is called. So And then also, actually this is the Buddha's instruction. They fall asleep. Uh, in falling asleep, he applies clear comprehension. This straight from the Satipatthana Sutta, under the Sampajana Pabba, the section on clear comprehension. Okay? So this is what it means to wake up with mindfulness, to wake up with mindfulness and clear comprehension. Okay? So you wake up with that mindfulness intact, with the clarity of mind intact. Immediately you wake up, you are clear what is happening. You are clear, or the mind is waking up. You are clear whether the mind is groggy or lazy or energetic, fresh. So whatever state of mind is there, you are aware. You are aware when you want to get up. You are aware as the body gets up. So it's called being mindful and clearly comprehending as you wake up. Okay. So after waking up, then you are supposed to spend the entire day with mindfulness and clear comprehension. Not just during sitting meditation, not just during walking meditation, but throughout in all your daily activities. Okay, so in the Sampajana Pabba, section on clear comprehension, the Buddha gave this instruction. Okay, so bhikkhus apply clear comprehension when going forward and when returning. That means when he walks from one place to another, and when he returns, he applies clear comprehension. He's clearly aware every single step as he walks and as he returns. He applies clear comprehension when looking ahead and when looking away. So even just a simple act of turning the head to the side, you're supposed to do it mindfully. So that means you have to have a very careful, continuous attention so that you can catch even this very simple act of turning the head to the side. Usually we don't pay attention to this. So we simply do. But in a meditation retreat, we are not supposed to simply do. We are supposed to be mindful, clearly aware every single moment, every single minute activity. So it applies clear comprehension when bending and stretching the limbs. Okay? So it applies clear comprehension when wearing the robes and carrying the outer robe and bowl. In this case, the Buddha described it according to the activities of the monks. So you can apply this according to your condition. As a lay person, you wear clothing. So when you put on your clothing, or when you carry your things about, you're supposed to do it with mindfulness and clear comprehension. Okay? So it applies clear comprehension when eating, drinking, consuming food and tasting. So when you eat, when you drink, so you're supposed to do so with clear comprehension. Okay? This is where we have the eating meditation. So every single morsel of food that you take, every single morsel of food that you put in your mouth, every single morsel of food that you chew and bite and swallow, you are supposed to do so with mindfulness and clear comprehension. So it applies clear comprehension when defecating and urinating. So even in the toilet also, you don't go in the toilet and leave your mindfulness outside the door. Enter with mindfulness and clear comprehension. So you can attain enlightenment even in the toilet. There's no place that is not holy enough that in order to attain enlightenment. Okay? So he acts with, he applies clear comprehension. When walking, standing, sitting, asleep, and in waking up, in talking and in keeping silent. Okay? So in all these activities, you're supposed to apply clear comprehension. Okay? So the Buddha here is just speaking generally. So he gives various examples of physical activities that we usually do in our everyday life. Okay? So you should not confine your mindfulness and clear comprehension only to these few activities that he mentioned. So here he did not mention opening and closing the door. So don't say, oh, Buddha did not say. So we should the mind will be still. When the mind is still, then it can easily go into the state of samadhi when you make effort to meditate. Okay? Another reason why we need to keep the body still, especially in vipassana meditation, is so that we can discern clearly the nature of the body. Okay, so this is actually part of the instruction. When you sit, you are not supposed to move. So the reason for this is that in order to discern clearly the nature of the body. Okay? So in one sutta in the Khanda Samyutta, the Buddha told the layman Nakulapita, he says, for one who have a body, one who is carrying around a body, to claim even a moment of health, this is nothing but foolishness. Okay, so our body, according to the Buddha, is never completely healthy. At any one moment, somewhere in the body, there's always some kind of discomfort, some kind of pain. So it's not perfectly healthy. Okay, so we can never claim that we are perfectly healthy. Okay, and this is the nature of the body. But normally we do not see this. So if you don't meditate, you don't sit still, very difficult to see this nature of the body. So even if you are sitting still at home, when you are sitting still, or in your office, when you are sitting still, focus on your work. So you think you are sitting still, but are you really sitting still? Like when you're reading a book. So you think you're sitting there without moving. Are you really still? So often you're not still. Usually you're not still. But you don't notice. But actually the body, you keep moving the body. The moment you feel any discomfort in the body, you start to move. And often you are not conscious about it. Because when you are reading a book, your mind is completely focused on the book. Your attention is not focused on the body. So you are not aware that you are actually fidgeting, moving about in order to relieve the discomfort in the body. So the moment there's any discomfort, immediately you start to move unconsciously. Without being aware of it, you start to move. Okay, so this is like you're constantly running away from the nature of the body, trying to avoid facing the nature of the body. Okay, but when it comes to vipassana meditation, the purpose is we want to come to know the true nature of the mind and body. So in order to see clearly the nature, true nature of the body, so you remain still, you don't move. So all you have to do is just remain still. After a while, the body will show its true nature. After a while, you start to feel discomfort here and there, stiffness here, tightness there. So some warmness, heat there. So the body will start to feel uncomfortable. Then you're supposed to face this nature. So the first reaction for beginners is they want to run away. Usually not even aware. All habit die hard. So vipassana, you're supposed to train the attention so that the moment the mind wants to move, you must catch intention. Intention to shift. You note intention. Not until the intention disappear. When intention disappear, then you no longer want to move. Then your body remains still, and then you continue to note the discomfort. Not until you see clearly. This is the nature of the body. So this is another reason why we hold the body still. So in vipassana meditation, we don't run away from the nature of dukkha. We turn our attention to face the nature of dukkha. Only if you dare to face the nature of dukkha, then you are able to develop the insight that can lead you to the complete liberation from dukkha. Okay? So I remember Ajahn, I think, it was Ajahn who mentioned this. He says there are two kinds of dukkha. There's a kind of dukkha that lead you to more dukkha. That is a type of suffering you face outside in your worldly life. Okay? So it leads you to more and more dukkha. Okay? So because you react to it in an unwholesome way, so it will lead to more and more dukkha. Then there's another type of dukkha that leads to the end of dukkha. That is the type of dukkha that you face. When you face the dukkha with contemplation, developing clear insight into its nature, and then it can lead you gradually to liberation from dukkha. So we must be daring, courageous in vipassana meditation. That's why vipassana meditation requires that the yogi has this courageous effort. That's the meaning of virya. Virya, the state of the warrior. The courage to face difficulty, to face suffering. Only if you dare to turn the mind to face dukkha, then only you can free yourself from dukkha. Okay? So first, in sitting meditation, you must adopt a comfortable posture, as comfortable as possible. Okay, but eventually, no matter how comfortable, eventually when you sit still for some time, the nature of the body will arise, will appear. So the yogi summon up this courageous effort to face the note. Okay. So the traditional posture for sitting meditation, as we mentioned, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Okay, so you can choose full lotus, half lotus, or no lotus. Just one leg in front of another. Okay, whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, and as we mentioned, if you are not able to do so because you have some injury and so on, then you can choose to sit on a stool or on a chair. I think a stool is better because a stool do not have any backrest. So in a chair, there's a backrest. There's a tendency after a while you feel lazy, you want to lean back a bit. So a stool would be better. Some people may like to, when they sit cross-legged, they may like to elevate their body a little bit by placing some cushion underneath their buttock. You can do that also if you like to. So if that makes you feel more comfortable. Okay. So once you adopt a proper comfortable posture, then you're supposed to direct your attention to the primary object. Okay? So, as we mentioned, so primary object is the main object that we use in order to anchor the mind, to develop the mindfulness and concentration. Okay? And we mentioned about rising, falling, which is the primary object recommended by Mahasi Sayadaw. So this is the natural movement connected with your natural breathing. And so when you breathe in, breathe out naturally, without trying to control the breath, without trying to force the breath in any way, but just allow the breath to occur naturally. So when you breathe in naturally, there will be some motion somewhere in front here. Some people may feel it clearly in the abdomen, some may feel it clearly on the chest, some may feel it clearly on the diaphragm, wherever you feel it most clearly, wherever you naturally and usually feel this motion. So you direct your attention there. Okay, so if it's the abdomen, you direct your attention to the abdomen. If it's the chest, you direct your attention to the chest. So and then you hold your attention there. Okay, and then as the breathing occurs, and then the motion starts to occur. Okay, so as soon as it starts to occur, immediately you pay attention. So you have to be very alert. And the moment the motion starts to occur, you must start to pay attention. So you must connect your mind precisely with the motion. Okay? But in doing so, you should not force the mind too hard. Okay? So just enough effort to bring the attention to the object, to the motion, and connect with it precisely and clearly. Okay, so the mind also must be relaxed. Okay, but not too relaxed. There must be the effort to continuously direct the attention to the object, to connect with it precisely, clearly. Okay, but not too tense. There must be enough. The mind must be relaxed enough. If the mind is too tense, you cannot meditate effectively. You'll not be able to settle down clearly into the object, to discern its nature clearly. So you must allow the mind to relax into the object. So the mind must be relaxed, but open and attentive. Feel the flow of the motion as it moves from beginning to the end. So you allow the mind to flow along, to feel it clearly as it flows continuously from beginning to the end. Okay. So the whole mind must occur concurrently, synchronized with the object. It must be exactly on the object as the abdomen or the chest, as it continuously moves from beginning to the end. The mind must be continuously and exactly on the motion, without trailing behind or without moving ahead of it. But it must be exactly where the motion is. Okay. And you must observe the motion with wholehearted attention, so 100% attention. Okay, so, such that the only thing that occupies the mind every moment is the object that you are noting at that moment, okay, and nothing else. Okay, so it must be 100% complete, wholehearted attention on the object. Okay. Only in this way can the noting be precisely on the object. Okay, so this is also the Buddha's instruction to contemplate the body in the body. It must be precisely on it. completely on it. Okay. So now as you note the rising, falling, so you're not continuously rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. But as you note in this way continuously, various other objects may arise. Okay, so and so as we mentioned, when they arise, so now if this object, they are a very weak object, a mild object, so they are not strong objects, so they do not distract the mind from the rising falling. They do not pull the attention away from the rising falling. Okay? So in this case, you can safely ignore this object, okay, and continue to note the rising falling. Okay, so because it does not distract, it doesn't pull your attention away. So you don't need to go and note them. So that means you don't actually have to note every single object that arise. So if they are not prominent, they are not clear, they don't distract the attention from the rising falling, you don't have to note them. So you don't have to note every single object that arise. Otherwise, the mind will be busy running here and there, here and there. So, and this is not helpful for in the beginning, for the development of mindfulness and concentration. Okay. After you have established very strong mindfulness and concentration, and the mindfulness and concentration is flowing continuously, then you can start to take more and more objects. Okay. But in the beginning, as we said, so it's helpful to limit down your number of objects. So you don't have to note every single object that arises. You only need to note the object when it is very, very clear, it's so prominent that it completely pulls your attention away from their primary object. Then only you need to note them. So only if it distracts your attention, you need to note. Okay, so if it distracts your attention, that means the moment the object arises is so strong that immediately you cannot help. The attention cannot help but be distracted towards it. Then in that case, we say that that object is prominent. Then you have to note. If the object is prominent, you have to note. So when you note, you have to completely turn your attention completely away from your primary object, from rising, falling, and turn it completely towards that secondary object. Okay, so you must not try to note half your attention on the primary object, half. So you have to turn your complete attention towards the secondary object. Completely forget about the primary object. Okay? So turn your entire attention to the secondary object. Okay. So this is the meaning of secondary object. Secondary object means any other object other than the primary object that is prominent enough that it is able to pull your attention away from the primary object, from the rising, falling. So sometimes you see, when you have developed your mindfulness is very strong. So when your mindfulness is very strong, it can establish itself very firmly on the object that is being noted. So if you are noting the rising, falling, so it establishes itself very firmly on the rising, falling. So sometimes when the mindfulness is so strong that even some secondary object, even though they are very strong, still it cannot pull your attention away from the rising falling. So, for example, you may be noting rising falling, rising falling. If your mindfulness is very strong there, sometimes like in Kuala Kubu Baru, sometimes the azan very loud. So your mindfulness is really very strong. You'll not be distracted by that. You can still stick with the rising falling. You can stay on course without being distracted. Then you stay with the rising falling. Okay. So, but of course, in the beginning, your mindfulness is still not developed yet. Then the azan come, then sure you get pulled away. No need to say azan. Even some insect sound also you get distracted. So if the mind get distracted, then you should know. So so sound is one of the secondary object. So sound, there can be many sound around. So here in Santi Sukarama, right now, there's the sound of the insect. So the sound of the fan. So sound of the wind blowing. Sometimes in the afternoon, the wind blows, the leaf rustling. Sometimes you can hear the sound of various animals, the squirrels, the monkeys, various kind of birds. So many sound around. But usually this sound does not distract your attention. So you can just ignore them. Okay? So but if the sound suddenly, very strong sound arise, they straight away pull your attention away. Somebody opened and closed the door very loudly. So even this actually, your mindfulness is very strong, you'll not be distracted. So if your mindfulness is really very strong, even the lightning to strike close to you, it won't jot you out of your samadhi. So depending on how strong your mindfulness, your concentration is. Okay, so if the sound is very loud and straight away it pulls your attention away. So once your attention pulls away, your noting must follow immediately. Okay, so immediately your noting must turn towards that new experience that has just arisen, and then you note it. Hearing. Okay, so you must note immediately. So your mind has to be very swift to immediately turn to note. So the mind, when in vipassana meditation, the mind must be able to be very, adaptive, very agile. Immediately the experience change, immediately the mind can turn. Some yogis, the mind is so stiff. Rising, falling means rising, falling. You want to change object, very difficult, must force the mind. So your mind must be very agile, very adaptive, very swift to change object. So because the attention is already distracted over the other side, so immediately the noting must follow, go towards and note hearing. Okay? So when you're not hearing, one important point to note is don't dwell into the story behind the sound. Don't try to identify what is this sound. Don't try to analyze what is this sound. Then you may be distracted. You try to analyze, what is this sound? Why so loud? This fella, not mindful, you open and close the door, makes so much noise. Then after that, angry, anger arises. So don't dwell into it. Okay, so just note the sound as a sound, hearing as just hearing. And so your attention should be just on the bare experience of the sound, without dwelling into the detail of the sound. Just on the bare experience of the sound. The attention should be just on the fact that there is the experience of hearing right now. So you're just clearly aware that simply that there is an experience of hearing right now. Okay, so hearing is just hearing. That's all. Not what is it, what sound, who, when, what. Don't need to dwell into this. Just a bare experience of hearing. So the Buddha said in Bahiya Sutta, Sutte Sutta Matam Bhavisati. In what is heard, that is simply what is heard. That's all. What is heard is simply just sound. So you just stop there. So it's not the sound of the door banging, not the sound of thunder, not the sound of bird. Sound is just sound. That's all. Finish. So in what is heard, there will be only what is heard. So the yogi must train himself in this way. So you turn your attention to note the experience of hearing, hearing, and then when it disappears, then you know clearly that it disappears. So and then immediately you turn your attention back to the rising and the falling. Okay, so don't dilly-dally there or after the sound disappear already. Okay, slowly take your sweet time, slowly direct back, and maybe take a break for a while. Then only go back to not rising, falling. That is not anupassana. Anupassana means the noting must go on moment, one moment after another. So from rising, falling, so the sound arises, immediately the attention turns. Without a break, it turns to not hearing. The experience of hearing disappear. Immediately you know clearly it disappear. Immediately direct the attention back to the rising, falling without a break in the continuity of noting. Okay. So this is how you're supposed to note secondary object. Okay. So not just the sound. So as you meditate, note the rising, falling. So also various sensations may arise in the body. Okay, so various physical sensations may arise in the body. So sensations such as heat, cold, tightness, pressure, itchiness, stiffness, tingling sensation, ticklish sensation, and so on. Okay, so so again, as in the case with the sound, if this sensation are just very mild sensation, very weak sensation, they do not distract your attention, do not pull your attention away from the primary object, then you simply ignore them. It is safe to ignore them and continue to note the rising, falling. Okay? However, if the sensation is prominent, very strong sensation, immediately it pulls your attention away from the rising, falling. So you cannot help it. The attention immediately goes to it. So the noting mind must follow where the attention goes. Okay, so sensation of heat arise immediately. Very prominent heat. Immediately the attention goes there. So you must note. Turn your attention to the experience of heat and note heat. The sensation of tightness arise. Note as tightness. If it's a sensation of pressure, note pressure. If it's pain, note as pain, and so on. Okay. So in noting, again, just note the bare experience of that sensation in that moment. Okay, don't dwell into the detail of it, analyze it, and start to think, why is it so hot? Then you start to think, oh, this fella, don't know who, go and switch off the fan. And again, anger arise. So, so just put your attention squarely on the bare experience of whatever sensation is there in that moment. Okay, so, so do not let the mind dwell into an analysis of the sensation. Then you end up thinking. Analyzing is thinking. So you're thinking why. Why is it like this? How is it like this? So vipassana is about observing clearly the bare nature that is present right now in the present moment. So it's not about thinking, not about analyzing. Okay? So all the questions, why, how, who, what, when, that one is not important in vipassana meditation. Okay? So what is important is just the bare observation of the bare experience in the present moment. Okay? That's all. So actually vipassana meditation is very simple. It's the simplest activity of all. You don't even have to think. Right? Thinking is very difficult. Right? In vipassana, you don't have to think. You just simply have to observe. Right? So it's very simple. So, but it takes a lot of effort because it's not just superficial observation. It's a very deep, focused observation of the object, not just in one moment, but moment after moment after moment, continuously. So it takes a lot of effort. Otherwise, it's actually a very simple activity. Okay, so. So you note whatever sensation is there in that moment that distract your attention away from the rising falling. Okay, so just place your attention on the bare experience of it and observe it carefully, continuously. So note until it disappears. So once it disappears, you know clearly it disappears, and then immediately again turn your attention, direct it back to the rising falling. Okay, so don't take your sweet time. So direct the attention immediately. So again, you see, the mind needs to be very swift, very agile. You turn from your primary object to the secondary object. It has to be very swift, very agile, very fast. Okay? Turning back from the secondary object back to primary object, also the same. So vipassana meditation is very active. So now sometimes as you note the sensation, so the sensation starts to become more and more subtle. So as it becomes more and more subtle, so you make effort to try to follow it as long as possible. Okay. So as we say, if your mindfulness is really very strong, it establishes itself on the object very firmly, so that even as the object becomes more and more subtle, it is able to continue to follow it. Okay, so you make effort to try to continue to follow it as long as possible. But when it comes to a point when you find it's very difficult to follow this very subtle object, that means the object has lost its prominence. And then in that case, you can return your attention immediately to the rising falling. Okay? Then thinking, wandering, restless mind also. So this should always be noted. Okay, so because thinking mind, wandering mind, restless mind, these are they are always a distraction. They are themselves a distraction. Because the moment they are present, that means your attention is already distracted away from the rising falling. So they must always be noted. You should not ignore them. Thinking a little bit in the background, they might continue rising falling. So you should note them. Okay, so not until disappear. Okay, so when you're noting this wandering mind, thinking mind again, don't dwell into the story behind the thinking. Okay, so don't get involved with the story. Okay, so otherwise you'll be never ending. You start thinking of one thing, then it leads to a train of thought. One thing leads to another. Okay, so so in your let's say your daily activities, so you thinking arise. So it's not thinking. Let's say you're thinking about or the chicken is today, they serve today, when you're eating meditation. Chicken they serve today very nice, and you start thinking. So you're supposed to just not thinking. So but you start dwelling into the story behind. Oh, chicken very nice today. I don't know, Sister Sam, where she brought the chicken from, what recipe she used. I must remember to ask the recipe from her after the retreat. So one thing leads to another, never ending. So don't get involved in the story behind it. You must step out of it. Okay? So when you're involved in the story, it's as if like you're in, let's say, in an aquarium, swimming together with the fishes. So you must step out of it. It's like you're stepping up, coming up from the aquarium, and then looking back into the aquarium from the outside. So when thinking arises, don't get involved in the thinking. Step out of the thought and turn your attention back on the state of thinking, not the state of mind. Okay? So if the mind is in the state of thinking, just note as thinking. If the mind is imagining, not imagining. If it is restless, not as restless. If it is unsettled, not as unsettled. Okay, just be aware of the state of mind, not the story behind it. Okay, so you must step out from it and note it as it is. Okay, whatever state of mind it is. Okay, and nothing must be firm. We must not firmly, wholeheartedly, without getting involved in the thought. So if you really note the thought that arises firmly, you step out of it and note it as it is, as just a state of mind, without getting involved with it. So in this way, the wandering thought should disappear immediately, or after a few noting, it should disappear. Okay, so yeah, but if you do not note properly, don't note wholeheartedly, so you note half your attention, noting half your attention, still want to delight in the thought, in the thinking, because the teacher say you must note the thinking. Okay, you note, but then the thought is so delightful, you want to continue thinking about it. So half the mind say thinking, but the other half really thinking, really involved in the thinking. If you note half-heartedly in this way, it will never stop. It will continue on and on, because you are continuously feeding the thought. So you should not note in this way. You must note wholeheartedly. When you note wholeheartedly, That means you put all your effort, all your energy into the noting mind. Okay? So when you note half-heartedly, part of the energy goes to your noting, but part of the mental energy goes into thinking. So that means your energy is leaking, But if you note wholeheartedly, then what you are doing is you are directing all the energy just to the noting. It's like you are reclaiming all the mental energy for the work of noting. So then you deprive the wandering mind, the thinking mind of any energy. Then naturally it will disappear because you cut off its energy. It cannot go on anymore. It will naturally disappear. You don't have to deliberately push it away. You simply have to note the thinking wholeheartedly, 100% attention. Then it will disappear. Okay. So once it disappears, then again, immediately turn your attention back. First, you know it disappears. Then immediately turn your attention back to the rising, falling. Okay. Now what happens if it doesn't disappear? Sometimes in the beginning, your mindfulness is still weak. So you're not thinking, but still it goes on thinking. So when your mindfulness is still weak, it's not strong enough to overwhelm the thinking mind. So the thinking overwhelms the mindfulness. Then it goes on thinking. So what do? It goes on thinking. So in this case, after noting, thinking a few times, let's say you note 7, 8 times thinking, it still go on thinking, it doesn't stop. Then in that case, it's better that you bring your attention back to the rising, falling. So what you do is you gently but firmly detach the mind from the thinking. Do it mindfully. Mindfully, gently, firmly detach the mind from the thinking. And then gently and firmly, mindfully direct your attention back to the rising, falling. You have to do it gently. Don't forcefully cut off the thinking. Okay? So, and direct it back to the rising, falling. Because in this case, because the the mindfulness is still weak. So it's better to just bring the attention back to the rising, falling and continue to develop the mindfulness using the rising, falling as the primary object. So, but you have to do it mindfully. Mindfully bring it back. Okay. So that's for wandering mind. So, but as for other states of mind that arise during your sitting meditation, during your practice. Okay, not just in a sitting meditation, even you're walking and so on. So, if this state of mind connected with defilements, mental defilements, then they should be noted. So defilements such as anger, agitation, desire, attachment, laziness, dullness of mind, and so on. All this should be noted. You should not ignore them. Okay, so you must turn your attention to note. So otherwise, you just let them be and you continue to note your rising, falling. They continue to grow in the background of your mind until they go out of control. For example, when you are noting pain, so pain, you note pain, but your mindfulness is not good enough. Anger arises. Anger arises, you ignore anger, you continue to note pain. At the back of the mind, the anger grows stronger and stronger and stronger. You continue to ignore it. It can become so intense. At some point, you may explode. So So because as you keep focusing the mind with all these defilements at the back, these defilements become concentrated, right? They become focused. Okay? This is called wrong concentration. So you have to turn your attention. The moment you detect any of these defilements, you must turn your attention to note them immediately. Okay, don't let them grow and then get out of control. You must immediately turn your attention to note them and dispel them with noting. So nip them in the bud. Okay, you have to note them energetically, note until they disappear. Okay, so as we said just now, if you really note with wholehearted attention, you put all the effort, energy into the noting, then you will deprive the unwholesome state of mind of any mental energy. Then naturally it will disappear. Okay, and you will see clearly it disappear. Okay, anger is like it dissolve into nothing. So you can discern clearly that it disappear. Once it disappear, you can see the change in the state of mind. Anger disappear, the mind become peaceful again. It calms down again. It become wholesome again. You can see the changes. So once the wholesome mind return, then you immediately direct your attention back to your primary object. Okay. So when you note all these defilements again, don't get drawn into the story behind them. So when you note anger, don't get drawn into thinking why you are angry. Then you start to think more, become more and more angry. When you focus your attention on the object that is causing the anger, you become more and more angry. Just put your attention just on the state of anger. And not wholeheartedly. Put all the energy into the noting. Then the anger, being deprived of energy, it will become weaker and weaker, and then it will disappear. Okay? But as for wholesome state of mind, wholesome state of meditative mind. So after meditating for some time, after you have developed your noting mind sufficiently, you'll find that as you meditate, this wholesome meditative state of mind may start to appear clearly in your mind. State of mind such as peacefulness, clarity, focus, calmness, and so on. So now, for this state of mind, wholesome state of mind, if they are prominent, of course you can note them. If they are prominent, so you turn your attention, you note them. Note until they come down, it loses the prominence, and then you return to the primary object. Because you also do not want this state to become too strong. And they need to be in a state of balance. Peacefulness, it should not be too peaceful until the mind becomes frozen. So you apply mindfulness on it. Mindfulness tends to balance it out. So when it balances it out, so then it becomes less prominent. Okay, so then you can return to noting your primary object. Okay? But if they are not prominent, then you can simply, you're aware that they are there, but you don't have to pay attention to them. You just continue to note the rising and falling. Okay, so wholesome state of mind is not so dangerous as the unwholesome state of mind. Unwholesome state of mind, you need to really pay attention and note them. Okay, so but unwholesome state of mind, if they are not really that prominent, you can simply be aware that they are there. Okay, but you don't have to pay attention to them. You can continue with your primary object. Okay. Yeah. So this is how you note the secondary object during the sitting meditation. Okay. So as you can see, there's this system of noting. It's a very systematic way of noting. Okay. So first you anchor your attention on your primary object. Okay. And if there's no other prominent object, so you remain with the primary object. Okay. So you continuously hold your attention and note the primary object continuously. But as and when secondary objects that are prominent arise, then you turn your attention completely to note them, and you note them continuously until they disappear. Once they disappear, immediately your attention come back to the primary object. So there's this very systematic way of noting. So once you come back to the primary object, you note it continuously. And again, if another secondary object arises, again, you repeat the same thing. You go immediately, turn your attention to it, note continuously, disappear, immediately your mind come back to the primary object. So it's a very systematic way of noting. Okay? And the yogi should discipline the mind to follow this systematic way of noting. Okay? So it is, this way of noting is designed in such a way to help the yogi establish this anupassana, this continuous mindful noting. Okay, so if you discipline the mind, you follow this systematic way of noting, you find that the noting mind is always going on continuously, moment after moment after moment. At any one moment, you find that the mind is noting something. It's either noting the primary object or it is noting a secondary object. But noting is going on every single moment. And also as you note, you're investing energy, effort into every moment of noting, to bring the noting to the object, to apply it precisely on the object, to explore the object. So you're making effort, you're investing effort. So the noting mind is developing continuously. The mindfulness is developing continuously, becoming stronger and stronger as it picks up more and more momentum. And this will lead, this continuous mindfulness will lead eventually to the establishing of samadhi, of the kanika samadhi, momentary concentration. Okay, so a yogi should discipline the mind to follow this basic system of noting. So when you note systematically also, the object also will tend to be clearer. If you just chin-chai note a bit here, a bit there, then usually the object will not be clear. Okay, so idea is that as you note, the mind becomes clearer and clearer. Each object starts to appear more and more clearly, distinctly. Okay, but if you just simply anyhow note, so as you like, it will not develop systematically. So object will also not appear clearly. So so of course it's not easy. This continuous mindful noting throughout the day is not easy. It requires tremendous amount of effort. But you see, the goal of it is a very lofty goal, right? So it's nothing short of complete liberation from suffering in samsara. It's the highest goal that one can ever achieve. So for such a lofty goal, it requires a very lofty effort. But it's not easy. Admittedly, it's not easy. So the yogi needs to summon up this courageous persistent effort. That's why the Buddha in the Satipatthana Sutta, he says, he used the word atapi, ardent, energetic effort. That means very intense, persistent, relentless effort to continuously drive the mind again and again to note the object. You have to put in this effort to continuously develop the noting mind moment after moment after moment. Okay, so in the beginning it's not easy, but as you do it again and again, as the noting mind develops its strength and its momentum, it start to get easier and easier. In the beginning, there will be a lot of difficulty, not just externally, but also in the mind, a lot of resistance, all the hindrances. Okay? But so you have to put in the effort to overcome all this resistance, all this obstacle. Okay? So it is like a baby learning to walk. So when a baby learns to walk, so at first, the leg is not strong. Try to climb up. Hold on to something, you climb up. The leg is not strong. So it fell down again. Immediately it fall down. Okay? So, but you see, the baby don't give up. Right? Have you all ever seen any babies who give up on walking? The moment he fell down, I don't want to walk anymore. Give up. Then for his whole life, he will not learn to walk. So, but every baby you see, they are very determined. They fall down, they don't give up hope. They don't become frustrated. They get up. Immediately try to get up again. And then they fall down again. And they pick themselves up again. Again and again, they do this. They never give up. So as they do this again and again, slowly, gradually, they develop the strength of their legs. And then slowly, they can take one step, and then 2 steps, and then 3 steps, and then more and more steps. Eventually, they can walk without holding on to anything. So they can take more and more steps before they fall. So gradually develop the strength of these legs. Eventually, you can even run. So the yogi is also like this. So in the beginning, your noting mind is still very weak. So you must not give up. Learn the lesson from the baby. Even a baby can teach us a lesson. Just never give up. So persist on in your noting. Again and again. The mind get distracted, re-establish the mindfulness. Start again. You get distracted again, you re-establish the mindfulness. Do it again and again. Eventually, you will get there. Eventually, the noting will start to flow with strength and momentum. You'll get there. So in the beginning, you have to put in the effort. Don't think of meditating, let's say, you think of meditating continuously for a whole day, or even just for 1 hour, or walking 1 hour, or sitting. To note continuously, it seems impossible. You think of it, it sounds very intimidating. How can I do it? You don't have confidence, right? So, but how about noting just one object? One object arises, I say rising, arise. So you make effort to follow it continuously from beginning to the end. That is doable, right? So you start with just one object first, to note continuously one object. After you can note one object, okay, next object. Then you try again, next object. The next object can follow, and then next object, and then next, and next, and next, and next. Try to carry this as far as you can. Eventually you get distracted. Never mind, you get distracted, you note. Distracted. Then you re-establish again the mindfulness. Then you start again, one object. So in this way, it can help you to develop continuity of mindfulness. Okay, so do it one object at a time. Okay, then you add in one more and one more and one more. Okay, so gradually you will stretch longer and longer before your mind get distracted. Okay. All right, it's already very late. Let's stop here today. So this question, the sound of silence is lingering in my ear when I do sitting meditation. And I kept switching my noting object between rising, falling abdomen and the sound of silence. I'm also using anapanasati to calm down myself. Am I on the right track? Can you please advise me on the vipassana way? So as we have mentioned, so I don't know what this sound of silence sounds like. So, but if it's really distracting, then you have to note it. Okay, so you turn your attention, you note. So you're not hearing. So it disappears, then you return your attention to the rising, falling. Okay, so don't think that secondary object is a distraction from the practice. It is not. As long as you are noting the secondary object, meditation is still going on. Meditation means noting. Meditation is not rising, falling. It is noting. So whether you are noting rising, falling, or whether you are noting secondary object, it's still noting. It is still meditation. Okay. So as long as the noting goes on continuously, then your meditation is still going on. It's not a distraction. So you can note, turn to note the sound, hearing. When disappear, immediately turn back, rising, falling. You come again, you note, hearing. You disappear, then just come back. So the noting is going on. So you are still meditating. Okay. So you use anapana to calm down the mind. Actually, you can also use rising, falling to calm down the mind. Rising, falling is also connected with the breathing. Right? So if you follow it, but you must do it in a relaxed way. So you force the breathing, then of course you become more and more tense. So you must allow the breath to occur naturally. And then the breathing becomes very smooth. The rising, falling also occur very smoothly. It flows very smoothly. Then you just follow it. It's very calm. If you're really doing noting of rising, falling correctly, your mind is very calm, very settled on the rising, falling. So you can use rising, falling also to calm down the mind. Then Bhante, during walking meditation, there is an intention, mindfulness that follows the walking. Noted the nama rupa component. So my noting of the will to walk, is it before or after the intention? If you are really mindful, then you should be able to tell me whether the intention come before the walking or after the walking. So homework for you, go and observe more carefully and clearly. So if both primary object and secondary object also quite prominent, should I choose one to note? Yeah, if both are prominent, then stay with the rising, falling. So just choose one. Okay. Usually the mind knows what to choose. Okay. So if you can stay with the rising, falling, it will stay with the rising, falling. Okay. So if the object is so strong, it will immediately pull your attention away from the primary object. then your noting must follow. Okay, but if it doesn't pull your attention, then you continue with the rising falling. So thanks. Until the sound of silence is like E sound non-stop. Okay. Yeah, sometimes people may hear this sound. Okay, so if it is really distracting, then you have to note. Okay, so but as I said just now, if your mindfulness is very firmly established on the rising falling, so even if the sound is there, it may not be able to pull your attention away. Okay, so in that case, then you just stay with the rising falling. Okay, only if it really pulls your attention away from the rising falling, then only you go and note. Okay, okay, that's all the question in the chat room today. Okay, so we stop here today. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Buddham Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Dhammam Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Sangham Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Mata Pitunam Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Acariyanam Pujemi. Adha Imaya Patipadaya Jaram Ranamha Rimochisami. Idame Punyam Asavakhaya Waham Hodu. Idame Punyam Nibbanasa Pachayo Hodu. Idame Silam Magaphalanyanasa Pachayo Hodu. Imam no Punya Bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Imam no Punya Bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Imam no Punya Bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah, so the next Dhamma talk will be on the coming Wednesday night. So may all of you be well, happy and peaceful always. May all be healthy and strong and continue your practice of the Dhamma. May you all be able to experience the unconditioned peace of Nibbana through the practice of the Dhamma.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.